Chola Dipti. Okay, so we'll start. Is the screen visible, students? PPT screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. So today's
Yes,
session,
ma'am.
we are dealing with module 2 and module 2 of your subject application development using Python is now consisting of list, dictionaries and structuring data followed with strings. Okay. So when you look at the title of your module, can anybody guess what we are learning? List, dictionaries, what are we learning? Structuring data. What are we learning in this module? What are list, dictionaries and all?
Data structures.
Data structure.
Data structures. Okay. So in this particular module, we are learning the Python data structures where I am basically concentrating on three data structures. One is a list, the other one is a tuple, the other one is a dictionary. So we are concentrating on three data structures basically. And even we have sets. Sets is not part of your syllabus, but as of your own interest, you can learn sets also. So it's very simple, nothing much complicated. Okay. Can anybody tell me what is a data structure, students? What do you understand? Define data structure, which you have learned in your third sem. Speak out.
Organizing of data.
Okay. Organizing of data. Why? Why should I organize the data? Simply? Okay. So for example, I have all my clothes, right? Party wear clothes or uniforms or daily wear clothes, everything. I put it on a table. Is the data organized? Is the clothes organized there? Jumbled? Is it organized?
No, ma'am.
No.
What exactly you do? What exactly you do at your home?
Arrange.
You arrange it. So you have your own cupboard wherein you arrange in a particular rack only your uniforms, right? The second rank you will keep all your party wear clothes. The second one daily wear clothes. The third one followed with that the other miscellaneous you will just keep it. So what makes now when you place all the clothes in the cupboard?
Easy to access.
Easy to access. The same wise here in computer, we want to organize in the computer memory. If I have to very much be specific, I need to organize the data in such a way that it is easy to access, efficiently maintained. Do you all agree with me? And it is efficiently organized. Are you understanding, students? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So organizing of data in the computer memory, systematic way of organizing data in the computer memory is such that we have easy access and it is efficiently organized, efficiently maintained, right? There are several data structures. When I talk about data structure, very simple. We are structuring our data at a single location such that it is easy to access. So similarly, we have several data structures. You have learned stack, queues and all, arrays, linked list, trees. But in Python, we have these data structures we will be learning about. And next we are learning about strings. Can anybody tell me what is a string? String. What is a string?
Set of characters enclosed within
Yes,
double quotes.
double quotes. You all know that it is a set of characters enclosed within a double quotes. Can I tell a string is a data structure again? Can I tell that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's a string is what? It's a collection of characters put together as a single word or a single string. Yes, so we are learning something about strings. What is a Python string? How do you manipulate? How does it work? What are the various operations that you can perform? So all these things combined, we now have the second module. Is that clear, students? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So now, initially to begin with today's agenda, I'm dealing only with the list. the starting one, the list. Then we will deal with tuple, then dictionary, and go on, moves on to strings there. So agenda of today's session is what is a list, introduction to the same, then how to create lists in Python. Okay. Next, how to access the individual values in a list, right? And lists are mutable. So very important concept this is. Lists are mutable. We'll see what is that. Then getting the list length with a function or the method so called as len, then followed with the demo of whatever we have learned. Yes? Fine. Since you are all have done one or the other Coursera course or one or the other Udemy course, can anybody tell me what is a list? What is a list? Students, can you hear me?
Yes,
It is the
ma'am.
ordered
Ma'am.
Okay. It is an ordered
sequence of elements.
sequence of what?
Elements.
Very good. Tell what you know, you tell, because you have already learned all these things, isn't it? So what is a list? It's precisely, a list is an ordered sequence of elements, as you said, but I can specifically tell that there's an ordered sequence of multiple values, right? Wherein these multiple values, what I write, can be of any type. Can you see? Can be of any type, like integer, like float, strings, list, tuples, or dictionaries, etc. So your values can be anything. Yeah, now, when I give such statement, can anybody tell me a list is a homogeneous data structure or heterogeneous data structure? Homo means what?
Similar type.
Similar type. Heterogeneous means it is different. So it is a heterogeneous data structure because the values can be anything. It can be int, float, double, string. Double is not there. String. It can even be a list. Okay, tuples, dictionary, set, goes on, right? And the values that I just mentioned here in programmatically program scenario, we call it as an elements or items. Most of the time they use elements, the name called as the elements. Okay. So now, how does this list look for me? So in Python, the list looks something like this. Can you observe this? Can anybody tell me now a list should contain what? So as you said, someone said me there, string is a collection of characters enclosed within quotes. Similarly, can you define list?
List is a collection of strings.
Collection of strings, necessary collection of strings?
No,
Set
ma'am.
of character enclosed within single quote.
No, list.
Set of values.
Set of elements enclosed within square.
Yes, set of elements enclosed within a square brackets where the elements are separated by what?
Commas.
Commas.
So it is a comma delimited. So it is a list of elements enclosed within a square bracket where the elements are separated by commas. See, need not necessarily. See, here I can see this is a list of only values which are what? Which are what, students? Need not be necessarily. Need not be necessarily. It can be anything. Just an example I have just given you here. So the elements of list are enclosed within the square brackets separated by commas. So this is what you have to tell when they ask you what is a list. Is that clear, students? Yes? Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So a list need not contain data of same type as I told you. We can have mixed type of elements in the list. Just a small example which I have just given you here. ls1 is equal to 10, minus 4, 25, 13. Okay. What is this ls1 now?
List one.
List. Okay, you all know that in Python, all are represented as what? All objects of some particular
Class.
suppose if I write a equals to 10, what is a to me?
Object of class.
Of type of class what?
Integer.
Integer.
Int object of class int. So whatever variables that you create in Python, everything is an instance, is an object of some or the other class. Similarly, when I write such a statement, see left side you write the variable name. On to the right side you will write the list. So ls1 is now a list object. A variable ls1 is now a list object of what class? Can anybody guess?
Integer.
Integer. ls1 is a list. It is of what? Huh?
List.
List. So how do you check the type of any variable?
Using type function.
Type function. Okay. Using the type function, we will now, where have I used it? Yeah. I think in the next I have used. Okay, anyways. So using the type function, I will now know what is the type of ls1 right now. Okay. We'll move on to the next session. I mean, in the next slide, I have given that. Next is ls2. Can anybody guess what is now the ls2 there? ls2 is again a list. Is it a list?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Where all the elements are what? Of type what?
String.
String.
Okay, that's one. So here it is all elements of the same data type. Coming on to the next example, we have ls3. Can you see this now?
Yes.
Have you seen
Yes,
data
ma'am.
type?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
You can see the first element is what now?
Float.
Float.
Second is what?
String.
String. Third is what?
Integer.
Integer. Can anybody tell me what is my fourth element in ls3?
String. List, ma'am.
It is a list. So, as I told you, the elements inside the list can be anything. It can be even a list. So, it is told that you can see here that the list can be nested as well as. So, as we have nested for loop. Inside a for loop, we have a for loop. Similarly, inside a list, we can have a list, very easy as it is. Instead of list, I can have even a dictionary, even a tuple, anything I can have, set, anything. So there is no restriction here. Yes, right? So earlier in your classes, in your data structure classes or in your DAG classes, we have used stack, queue and all. Stack, queue, they are all what? Homogeneous or heterogeneous?
Homogeneous.
Homogeneous. Stack of integers, stack of queues. But list, see, it is a very useful data structure where it can hold any kind of values or any kind of elements. Yes, students? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Next is the concept of how to create a list in Python. Right? So I just gave you this example, but you don't know how to create this, isn't it? So we'll just see. So when I ask you about how to create list in Python, you have to tell me how to create an empty list. Second, a list with elements. Okay. Then a list with elements using methods. So the three ways where I can create list. First is empty, list with elements, list of elements with using methods. So right now I'm just dealing with these two. Then further class I'll deal with this. Okay, because I need to tell you how to use methods. Fine. First, let us see how an empty list is created. So what do you understand by an empty list, students?
Not contains any.
Any elements. The list of empty means to say it is not having any elements. Can anybody tell me what will be the length of empty list?
1.
Length of empty list when it does not contain any elements.
0.
No, so it will be length of the empty list will be 0, remember. Okay, so how do we create that? Very simple as it is. Just use the list name towards the LHS of your assignment operator followed with what, students? Followed with
Square bracket.
empty. It should be empty, remember. It is an empty square brackets. Yes, one way is this. So now I'll use the type function as I said in the previous slide. Type of ls. What does it give me? What is type of ls? What's the answer?
List.
Okay, only list it will give?
None.
None? No. Type gives me what? The data type means to the class to which it belongs.
Class list.
Class list. I want the output. By this time, your output should be the tip of your tongue. The output will be like this. In the angular brackets, class list. Why? Because ls is an object of class list. So ls is an empty list here. Understanding? Yes or no, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next way of creating empty list. Okay. Now, can anybody tell me what is this?
It's a function call.
It is a function. You can just see the name of the function is same as the class name. So what is such a function called? In Java you would have studied, even in C++. In a class, if the name
Constructor.
is same as that of the class name, what is it called?
Constructor.
Constructor. So the other way of creating an empty list is by using the list constructor with the 0 arguments. So just write like this. ls is equal to list open brace close brace. Is that clear? Is that clear, students? 0. Now, if I again give type ls, what answer will I get? What answer?
Class list.
Class list. Again, it is an empty list. That's all. See, whenever it sees the square brackets, interpreter assumes that it is a list. That's all. Over. When it sees the constructor, it is a list. Does it have arguments? No. 0 arguments means it is an empty list. That's all. Is that clear? Is it clear, students? How to
Yes,
create a list? Okay. Next, how to create a list in Python with elements. Okay. So you have already seen how do we create list with elements. Okay. The first way is like this. So onto the LHS, sorry, give the name. Onto the RHS of the assignment operator, give the list of elements separated by comma, enclosed with what, students?
Square bracket.
Square brackets.
Brackets. So you can see this. Right? One way of creating. So this is a static way of creating. So what do you mean by static? While writing the program only, you give the list contains these many elements. So dynamic way of creating is when you are executing the program, how to create a list. That is what I told, the third method with methods that we will see in the next classes. Again, if I give type ls, what answer do I get?
Class list.
Okay. But what is the length of this ls now? What is the length of this?
4.
4. Why? Because it has got how many elements?
4 elements.
Elements. Yes. Now, similarly, we can also create a list with elements by using the list constructor, right? But by passing the arguments. We'll see how it has been done. Look at this. So what should you write? ls to the name is equal to the constructor, right? And within the constructor, the argument should be your list. 3, 4, 1 enclosed with square brackets. So don't pass only 3, 4, 1. That's not allowed. You should enclose with square brackets. Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So again, type of ls if I give, what do I get? The answer is, sorry, type print. Print ls2 if I give. So what is the answer, students? What's the answer?
List containing 3, 4, 1.
It prints the contents of ls2 with brackets. You can observe, it will not print without brackets. No. It will print brackets because internally it will be stored that way itself with brackets separated by comma. Is that clear? Is that clear? Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now getting the individual values in a list with indexes. So now, suppose say I will ask you, get the third element of the list. How do you retrieve it? We can retrieve. So similarly to your array, how do you retrieve the elements from your array?
Using the index.
Using the,
Index value.
how do you retrieve an element from an array? Suppose say A is an array. How do you retrieve it? The first element in the array.
A
A
of
of 0.
A of 0. So what is this called as? Index.
Index of A.
Yes. First element is at the index 0. Second element is at the index.
1.
We use square brackets, which we also called as subscripting, isn't it? Similarly, in list also, we can extract every element in the list by using a numeric index. Numeric means what, ma? By using a number, integer number within the square brackets. Yes, and this numeric index, which is an integer, say that it should be an integer, it cannot be anything else. Okay, you cannot give floating point and all. No, it should be an integer. We give a specific name to it, so called as index, right? Now, the first value in the list is at the index 0, the second value is at the index 1, the third value is at the index 2, and goes on. It goes on. Okay? Just look at this example. Tell me, what do you understand about indexing in list? Can you just see? There are two types of indexing. Students?
Yes, ma'am. Forward and backward.
Forward and backward indexing. Okay. Forward is from the beginning to the last. Okay. The first element is at the index what, students?
0.
Second element at the index?
1.
2. Goes on. And the last element is at the index what?
5.
5.
Okay. So how many elements I have here, my index? Sorry, elements in the list?
6.
6. So for 6 elements, the index starts with 0 and ends with the index what, students?
5.
Okay, that's forward indexing, or sometimes we also called as positive indexing. Okay. In list, that especially in Python, we have negative indexing also, or we call it as backward indexing. So as the name indicates, backward, the indexing starts from where?
From last.
Minus
last.
1.
From the last to first. Okay. And the indexing of backward starts with what value, students?
Minus 1.
Minus 1.
Okay. Why not with minus 0?
It will remain in the same position.
Why not with minus 0? So, if you have listened anywhere, especially in mathematics, there is still in a discussion whether 0 is a positive or 0 is a negative. So 0 doesn't fall either to positive or a negative, wherein the researchers are still in the discussion. So as of now, we don't consider 0 as both positive and negative. So our negative number starts from where?
-1.
It's 1. So we start with -1, and my indexing should be from beginning, from last to beginning. So last element will be at the index what, students?
-6.
Minus last index, last element will be at what index? Negative
-1.
-1.
-1. Last but 1?
-2.
-2. Last but 2?
-3.
Goes on the same wise, wherein negative indexing, what is my first element index?
-6.
-6, right? Just an example I have just taken. Now, can anybody just relate the indexing to the length of the list?
Minus length of total elements.
Okay, so in forward indexing, we start from 0 and we end to what?
N minus
Length
1.
-1.
N minus 1. What is that N for me?
Length of
Length of the list. Okay, or number of elements in the list. But in backward indexing, we start with what?
-1.
-1 to where?
Minus now n.
Minus n, where n is the length of the list, L, number of elements in the list. So remember, very important concept which you should remember. And forward indexing will be from which element to which element?
First element. Last.
First to
element to
last.
last element.
And negative indexing will be from
Last element to
Last element.
first.
last element to first. Okay, is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, using this, how do I get the values? That's what the next thing is. Okay, let me take one example. I want answers to be given. Okay, saw the list? Yes? Yes. Print ls of 1. What does it print? 1 can answer.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So 1, index 1 corresponds to which element?
Second element.
Second
Second
element.
element. And that element is high. Very good. Next.
2, 3.
With list.
It will just print 2, 3
With list. With
with
square.
the square brackets. Remember, your third element, which is at the index 2, is a list. So it will print 2, 3 within the square brackets. It's a list of 2, 3. Yes. Next. Okay. I have one more question here. What is this? LS, right? LS of -4. What does it print?
34.
34.
Okay. LS of -1.
-5.
-5.
-5. Because negative indexing goes in which direction? From first to last. -1, -2, -3, -4. Don't start negative indexing with 0. -0 does not exist. You have not seen -0 anywhere. Okay, you are knowing it, isn't it? So now you can see that the ls to 2 is now having a list which is 2, 3. I want to access 3 from this. How do I access it? I want to access 3, which is in the list 2 comma 3.
LS of LS2.
LS of
LS1.
LS of 1. LS of 1 will give me high. Okay, anyways, there is something called as double indexing. So remember, there's something called as double indexing, wherein this is not working. Okay, something called as double indexing, right? Wherein we would like to access the elements which is present within the inner list. That means to say, a list which is acting as an element. How do we access? Just look at this. Double indexing. LS of 2 comma 0. What does it access? What does LS2 give me?
2, 3.
3.
2, comma 3.
So LS2 will give me 2 comma 3. In 2 comma 3, I should access which index?
0th
Index. So what is the answer here?
2.
2.
Understanding? So double indexing we will be using when you have to access the elements present within the inner list, which is an element to my outer list. Okay? Next, what will this give me?
3.
3.
3. So LS2 is a list. Okay? Fine. And 2 comma 3. In that, the index 1. So it is 3. Is that clear? Is that clear, students?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you have 3 kinds of indexing. Forward indexing, then
Backward index.
and then
Double index.
double indexing. So you should remember all these 3 things there. Okay. Next is in your exams, especially they ask you, are lists mutable? Justify. Can anybody tell me what does it mutable means in normal English?
It can be changed.
It can be changed. Mutability. Sometimes you listen, it is mutable. It can be changed. Yes, lists can be changed once after they are created. Very important point, because there are some data structures which are immutable, right? Whereas lists are mutable. Yes, lists are mutable. That means to say I can change the list elements, or I can modify the list once after it is created. I can easily do it. Okay. How do we modify? By using indexing. So let's see how we do that. Let's look at this example. Okay. Just tell me what am I trying to do in the second line.
Changing 2 to hello.
Changing
Changing what, students?
the third element.
Third.
You are trying to tell that as I
2 comma 3.
yes, assign hello to the index 2 in LS. So index 2 corresponds to which element?
2 comma 3.
In general. It corresponds
Third
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 element.
element.
to element. So the third element, which was now 2 comma 3, becomes what now?
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So if I print LS, what will be my answer?
34 hi hello minus
34 high, hello, and minus.
With
square bracket.
square brackets, very important. So when you write in your exams, if you miss square brackets, it shows that you don't know what is a list. So it prints 34 hi hello minus 5. Okay, I will just give you one example here. Just tell whether it works. LS LS of minus 5 equals to 10?
No, ma'am.
Why?
No, ma'am.
Why?
Because the 10's at -4.
We can see in the backward indexing or the negative indexing, it starts with -1 and -4, ends with -4. I don't have LS, I mean the index -5. So what kind of error do you expect here? Yesterday I told you error.
Value error.
No,
Out of range error.
out of range error. Okay, somewhere near to it.
End of file.
No. What is -5?
Index error.
Index error. Okay, so we get an index error because you are trying to access an index which is not available for me, right? It is index error. You get out of range error, I'm sorry, out of bond error for some other situation. For this it is index error. I'll tell you that also then. Okay. Okay, so the index can have certain properties which I'll just run through it. I can use any integer expression can be an index. Any integer expression can be used as an index. Look at this example. What does this internally mean? Where is that? What does this internally mean? Print ls of what? 2 star 1. What is 2 star 1? Students.
2.
Huh?
2.
2. Any integer expression can act as your index. You not have to worry. It's 2 star 1 or 1 plus 1 or 2 plus 3. You can give any integer expression wherein it can act as an index, provided it is present or not present, that is left to the programmer. Okay, any integer expression can act as an index. So what is the answer here?
Within the square brackets, 2,
2,
2,
3.
3.
2, 3.
Next one. Attempt to access a non-existing index. So you try to access a non-existing index. What does it give me?
Index error.
Look at this. LS4.
Index error.
LS4.
Index error.
Okay. 4 means which element?
Fifth element.
Fifth element. Do you have 5 elements in LS?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No. Obviously. Throws an index here. List index out of the range. You don't have list index what you have specified. Is that clear? Negative indexing, as I told you, it counts from which direction?
Backward.
Back to front.
Example. What does this print?
-5.
-5.
What about this?
High.
High. Okay. Then we have a separate in operator which will be applied on the list will result in a Boolean value. So in operator is a membership operator. Okay. So which checks what is onto the LHS is present in RHS or not. Very simple. It is similar to your set operator. What is that set operator that you use? You use this. What is this operator?
Belongs.
Belongs, not belongs. Similarly, in Python we have in, not in. Okay, which works similar to it. So it checks whether whatever is on the LHS of in is present in RHS or not. Very simple. Okay, just look at this example. What answer do you accept?
True.
True. Why? Because what is the task of the in operator? Very simple. It checks whether the LHS is present in the RHS. Okay. 34 in LS. Is 34 part of LS?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
See, it need not be 34 in the first position. It can be anywhere, but it should be present. That's what we do in belongs to also, right? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the result here?
True.
How about this?
False.
False.
Yes? Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we can now, so as I kept asking you, what is the length of the list? You said, looking at it, you said 4. But when the list is huge or when the list becomes dynamic in sense, while executing only you are creating the list. Right?
Ma'am, I have one doubt, ma'am.
Yes, ma, tell me.
Ma'am, if we use in operator along with list indexing, was it works?
Along with list
Indexing.
indexing. So how do you want to use it?
Like 34 in LS1 or LS0.
So usually the LHS, the RHS, sorry, should be a collection for in operator. Collection of elements. See here, LS0 in my case, it is 34. It is a
Yes, ma'am.
segment. Okay, but I could have given LS, this is not applicable, but I could have given LS of 0, 1, 2 like this. So preferably the RHS should be a collection of elements. Understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
So LS0, 34 in LS0 is not preferable, right? So it should be a collection of elements wherein I search for 34 in that collection. So I can give LS2 here because LS2 is a list again here. Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can give it. So wherein my answer will be 34 in LS2 is false, not
False.
okay. So in operator, it will take the RHS to be a collection of elements. Understood? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
A list,
Clear.
it can be tuple, it can be a dictionary, it can even be a string because string is also collection of characters. Yes? Yes, ma?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So how do we get the list length with the len method? Just use the len function while passing the list variable to it. Okay. So let us see how do we do that. Spam is equal to cat dog mouse. So I want to know the length of the list. So I'll just give len of spam. Can you just see here, students? So just use len. There is this, not able to see. Okay. Yes, len of spam. So where it just pass the list name alone into the len method or the function, and this gives the length of the list. Okay. So where in the length of the list number of elements, what is the answer here?
3.
3.
So my answer will be 3. Yes. So did you all get, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So thank you. I think we'll end the session. Any queries you have? I think I have not done with the demo. I'll do it tomorrow anyways. Any queries, students?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Fine. So before attendance, meantime, I'll only ask some queries to you. Okay. Can anybody tell me what is a list in simpler terms?
The set of elements separated by comma and enclosed within square brackets.
Square brackets. It's a set of elements. Rather than that, try to use ordered sequence of elements. Why? Because ordered sequence, why we are telling is every element has a index assigned to it. So it is in an order. 0th index, first element, first index, second element. So you try to use the keyword ordered. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Can anybody tell me 2 ways of creating a list? What happened? Two ways of creating a list, yeah? IS students,
Forward and backward.
list, create
Static and
list.
dynamic, ma'am.
Okay. Two ways of creating list. Okay.
Actually, applying the values
With
of the list or by
elements
using
and
the
without
constructor.
Okay. First one is writing only the elements and the square brackets. The other way is of writing using the or creating using the constructor. Yes. Types of indexing in a list.
Forward and
forward
backward.
and backward.
Forward and backward. So double indexing, you don't mention when it is told as type of indexing. It is just an extra knowledge which has been given to you. So forward and the backward indexing. So forward indexing starts from where to where?
From 0 to
To
Zero
let 0 to minus 1.
Now you should not use n,
length minus 1.
length of the list minus 1. So how about negative indexing?
Minus 1 to
Minus
length.
1 to the minus length.
Minus 1 is assigned to which element in the list?
Last
Last
element.
element.
Last. So you should tell the direction also. Negative indexing is assigned from last to first. Positive is from beginning to last. Yes. Okay. So our list mutable.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What do you mean by that?
It can be changed,
It can be changed once it is
created.
created. Very important that term. It can be modified once it is created. How it can be modified? By using the concept of, how can you modify it?
By indexing.
By using the concept of indexing. Yes. Okay. What does the len function do?
It returns the total number of elements in the list.
Okay, fine. Any doubts, students?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay. So we'll see in the next class, tomorrow's class. Tomorrow classes will be there because as we are lagging with the portions, classes will be there. I mean, almost all the classes will be there, regular classes. Okay. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. See you in the next class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.